The VVAX Metrotech camera systems use the latest technology packaged in a rugged, lightweight, compact profile made specifically for harsh conditions related to sewer lateral inspections. This video will describe the installation process for the D34 and D46 series camera heads and spring assemblies onto the Type CP standard reel. Before installation, inspect the 4-pin socket in both the termination base and the camera head. Remove any debris and grease that may have collected. Be sure that the pins are straight and are not damaged. It is also important to look for any corrosion, particularly around the pins and the O-ring. Using a cotton swab, apply a small bead of dielectric silicone grease to the threads on the termination base. The grease should be applied to the threads only. Before plugging in the curly cord to the termination base, look at the 4-pin connector on the short curly cord side. Notice that there is a groove at the top of the 4 pins. It is important that you line this up with the notch that is located inside the socket of the termination base to avoid damaging the pins. Pull back the floating camera nut and insert the short end of the curly cord into the termination base. Feed the first steel lanyard through the opening of the floating camera nut and place the ball into one of the slots on the termination base. While holding the first lanyard in place, feed the second steel lanyard through the opening of the floating camera nut and insert it into the other slot on the termination base. Then slide the floating camera nut over the 2 lanyard slots and hand tighten the nut. Repeat the process for the long curly cord side. Feed each lanyard through the nut and into the slots. Then slide the floating camera nut over the 2 notches. Before continuing, make sure that the 2 steel lanyards are straight and are not tangled in the curly cord. Temporarily add a piece of electrical tape to hold the floating nut to the plug. Slide the spring over the cable assembly, keeping the tight springs towards the termination base and the loose springs towards the camera head. Hand tighten the spring. Stop tightening once the spring reaches the base. Using a cotton swab, apply a small bead of dielectric silicone grease to the threads inside the camera head. The grease should be applied to the threads only. Pull back the spring to retrieve the plug. Carefully remove the electrical tape while keeping the plug secure inside the floating camera nut. Line up the groove with the notch and insert the coiled connector cable into the camera head. Check your connection by hooking up a module to your reel to be sure the camera is working properly. Hand tighten the nut. Check that the lanyards are straight inside the spring. To prevent the lanyards from becoming twisted during installation of the camera head, first turn the camera head counterclockwise 7 complete turns. Then hand tighten the camera head onto the spring. Assembly is complete once the spring touches the base of the camera head. Double check that the lanyards are straight within the spring assembly.